Hi, I'm Bill Gross, and in this week's Real Estate Market Update podcast, we have real estate news organizations literally trying to scare people out of the opportunity of their lifetime. Now, why would they do that? I'm going to speculate at the end. But before we get into that, let's get to where the market is so we can see how ridiculous this contention is. So I would say that in an economy, or I should say the basics of economics are, there's two key parts to an economy. There's supply and demand. Supply would be the inventory of sellers, and demand would be measured by the number of buyers, and that's going to be determined by the interest rates driving buyers into the market. This week, we had the largest two-day drop in interest rates in decades. We've dropped now and closed at 6.62%, down from over 7 a few weeks ago, down from 8% plus a few more weeks ago. All year long, we've been rising up since May above this point, and now we're back to where those numbers are in May. So we have 7 months of anxiety and stress of rates all rolled back in the last couple weeks. This is an incredible opportunity for people who bought houses to refinance and people looking to buy houses to save money. So we should see a jump of new buyers as a result of this coming in the marketplace. In the meantime, what's the inventory look like? What does it look like for sellers? And on that side, inventory still is rising slightly in terms of compared to prior pandemic levels, but it's still below any normal market on recorded history by 50% or so. So we're still down tremendously from a normal market with very limited inventory. And as I say all the time, as long as there is limited inventory, the market cannot crash, cannot go down in prices because there are enough sellers to compete to lower the prices. In Los Angeles specifically, I use outsourced research. They do a great job, and they rate our market here in LA as a 40, which is a slight seller's market, which is how it feels to me as a practicing listing agent. One of the key numbers is you'll notice the median price of new listings is going up, which means more high-end properties are coming on the market. The dollar per square foot, what you can buy, I should say how much it costs to buy 1 square foot of house, is $860. That stayed pretty level. And so it tells you prices are not dropping, values are not going down. If anything, they're staying pretty standard. So overall, the interest rate drop should be a tremendous opportunity for many buyers, and we'll see what that leads to. So let's go through the news headlines this week, something I do every week. This week, I would say I'm not sure which is worse, our state government in California or the news organizations that are cheerleaders. And for my first piece of evidence on that topic, let's take a look at KTLA5, their website, which is the largest TV station in LA. And their quote is, "New California laws bring changes to housing in 2024. Now, that would sound like something's going to happen of significant to change the supply of housing. Are we going to build more houses? Are we going to help people buy more houses? Well, not really. They list 5 important laws, they say. 1, lowering security deposits, making it less likely for investors to want to rent properties out. No longer allowing evictions on criminal behavior. So now landlords have to take more risk and be willing to rent properties to more criminals. Imagine that in Los Angeles. No just cause evictions, meaning being able to remove somebody for no reason other than it's your property, getting harder and harder and harder. So states really taking control of your property. And now you have to allow tenants to take e-scooters and e-bikes into the property to recharge them. And who knows what that does in terms of the electricity and who's paying for it, safety issues, all that. So here's a common thread, though. If you look at all that, does any of that help anybody buy a house, achieve the American dream? No. All it does is help people who otherwise might not qualify to rent to be able to rent on easier terms. It doesn't help them make more money to be able to rent. It doesn't help them get a job to pay for rent. It's just to help people who are marginally not quite deadbeats or maybe criminals, deadbeats, help them stay in properties, which is going to discourage more investors from owning property. So again, nothing here really helps people. And I think, again, the news in California does a terrible job cheerleading our state government. Here's, I think, a classic Chicken Little, the sky is falling news article. This one is submitted by Newsweek. The headline is, I love this, California's housing market is collapsing. Not that it's bad, not that it's going to get worse. It's collapsing. Collapsing. Now, I don't know, mathematically, collapse to me would be a 10% drop in a year, a 20% drop over a couple of years. And when you read the article, it tells you that the median, the middle house in California went down from $843,000 to $840,000, $3,000 less over a 1 month period. So that's not even a 0.5%. It's 0.3% drop in the median price in 1 month, even though year over year the prices went up. Even though median price means middle, so it could mean that there are less super high priced homes selling and all the rest is increasing slightly. That would skew those numbers. So the data is very limited. And even that 0.3% in 1 month, Newsweek wants to tell you that the sky is falling, or another way of putting it is the market is, in their words, not my words, collapsing. Okay. Well, here's another one, another article, I think. I think that the news tries to train consumers not to pursue their dreams, not to take responsibility to save money, cut expenses, get equity, work hard, and achieve the American dream, but to hope it will happen for you. And I'm going to tell you, hope isn't a strategy. But according to CBS News, maybe it is. Hope for housing market, ? Mortgage rates dip under 7%. Now, part of why mortgage rates dip is because less people have jobs. The economy is slowing down. The banks feel they can lend more money if there's less inflation and the economy is not spinning out of control. But one of the factors is increased joblessness, and reduced or stagnant wages allow them to lower rates. So bad news for workers is good news for interest rates. So CBS News somehow calls that hope for the housing market. Mortgage rates dip below 7%. I think the reality is for some buyers, it's great opportunity. Rather than hope, how about great opportunity, historic opportunity, historic change in the market, jump on it right away. But no, again, notice how the news always puts it in terms of hope available, hopes being crushed, hope being fleeting. Now, this one is really cute. One of my favorite political satire comedy channels is the Babylon Bee. And here's where parody meets reality. It's often the case with Babylon Bee. The things they predicted as jokes 2 years ago became true. So they ran this article, which I think is funny. It's a great time to buy a house, says the realtor, who gets paid if you buy a house. Now, there's truth to that. Generally speaking, I work with sellers, not buyers. I do often feel comfortable recommending that's great for anybody to buy a house. What I would say is, if it's a good time for you to buy a house, it's a great time for you to buy a house. And so this is kind of a joke, but you know what's interesting is the same week they have this joke, the National Association of Realtors comes out with an article that says 5 reasons why buying a home right now makes sense. Let's take a look at them and see, is this hype or is this realistic? The reason number 1 is you can buy a home now and refinance later. One of the reasons why people were sitting on the sidelines for last year was rates had gone up, they felt they missed their opportunity. But you can buy a house, and as long as you can afford it and keep that house, you're kind of getting a one-way option the rest of the time you own it, because if rates go up, you're locked in, but if rates go down, you can refinance. And there are buyers who bought houses last month, 2 months ago, and closed at 7.5%, 8% rates, who are now refinancing and putting extra money right in their pocket on a $500,000 house, saving $5,000 a year just by redoing the paperwork. So that is reality. If you can afford the home. Now, what we don't want to do is buy a house you can't afford. Like in 2008 with negative amortizing loans, loans you didn't qualify for, adjustable loans with built-in increases. That's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about 30-year fixed rate mortgages. And if you can afford those, then you have a one-way control. And if rates ever go down, you can then improve your situation. Reason number 2 they give you is home prices are heading up. Now think about it. I've bought plenty of stock in the last couple of years. I have stock in my company, EXP. I have stock in Tesla. I have stock in different real estate companies, different other companies, general index funds. There's no way to know that the prices are going to go up. housing prices almost have always gone up, other than 2008, which was a disaster, which was being created by the government. Even this year, virtually every economist predicts at least modest increases in value. So if you know you can buy a stock, Google or Tesla, and you know it's going to go up, would you buy it? Well, probably. But a house has the advantage of leverage. You put down 20%. If it goes up 1%, you don't just benefit on the 1% of the 20% you put down. You benefit 1% each on the 80% you borrowed. So you end up with a 5% increase in the value of the house, on top of the benefit of living there, on top of the writing off the taxes and interest, perhaps. So home prices are probably going up, which means you're going to end up in the long run buying now rather than later will always be a common sense strategy. Number 3, right now, there's less competition. True. For the where the rates are and the inventory is, you would think there'd be a lot more buyers open houses. The market's good right now, but it's not what it would be because of the holidays. It's like a lot of things. I'm in real estate. A lot of agents taking off, the whole month of December and January. I'm working many of these days. And those days I have less competition. For you as a buyer, if it makes sense to buy a house, here's a great chance to find what you're looking for. Number 4, inventory of homes, they say, is on the rise. As a number 4 argument, I would say that's minimal. It's not noticeable. So I think that's a little bit of a hype and a reason why the author's listing off 5. But number 5 is, I think, the crux, which is if it's the right time for you to buy a house, then it never makes sense to wait. Because if the housing prices are only going to go up, and if your mortgage rates can only go down once you're in the game, then it only makes sense if you can afford a house, if you want to own a home, if you want to pay those prices. It only makes sense to buy now rather than wait. There's no advantage at all to waiting. One of the worst articles I've seen in the last year was this week, Fox Business News. Now, take a look at this post. Let me see here real quick. Here you go. Real estate investor warns U.S. is entering the greatest correction of his lifetime. I happen to know this guy. This was a past prospective client of mine. He's become a real estate coach and guru and a great author. He's gone to great things. I don't know him that well today. I did meet with him in Florida at an event that he hosted and had a chance to chat with him very briefly. But he's really one of my mentors and heroes. I've read his book, 10X. I think it was one of the great books on small business. But look at his face. This guy who smiles all the time, he looks scared. And notice the verbiage is warns. Now, I saw this. I'm thinking, oh, man. And then I stopped myself. I said, hold it. First off, I was on the conference call with him. He holds a conference call for his investors. I'm one of a very small investor of his. He wasn't warning us. He was encouraging us. He was challenging us. He was looking to inspire us to cut your expenses, save money, get great returns on real estate right now. Be particular about the deals you buy, because this is the opportunity of a lifetime to pick up great deals. And so he wasn't saying the correction is a warning. He was saying the opposite. This is the chance of a lifetime. In fact, Fox in the article, when they post it, real estate investor warns U.S. entering greatest correction of all time. Notice this picture, they're smiling a little bit more, or at least less of a frown. When you read, sorry about that. When you read what he says, it's the real estate correction is going to be a great opportunity for individuals, regular, everyday people to actually grab trophy real estate from institutions. This has never happened in the country. He's inspiring. He's telling us this is the chance to change your life. Now, it's not get rich quick. He's not saying throw money at it. I've been to his programs. He teaches you how to underwrite deals, look at the numbers, look at who the sponsor is. Nobody's saying take a shortcut. Nobody's saying it's easy. But he is, again, let's go back to the article. He's not warning of a correction. He's a clarion call to the opportunity for everybody in America to change their lives. And I want to parrot that myself. I've been in real estate since 1986. It's been great for me. I've made a good income. I've put aside some good wealth. I wish I had more, but thank God I've done really well. And I see the next 5 years. I planned a 5-year plan to basically stop selling houses this year. I'm not going to stop. I'm making too much. I want to take the money I'm making, the excess, and take advantage of opportunities coming before me. And I'm looking at real estate deals now all the time that are great deals. So, terrible article by Fox News, Fox Business. Shame on you. Thank you, Uncle G, Grant Cardone, for reaching out to us and offering us the opportunity to invest with you or in competing with you. But the bottom line is to chase the American dream on our own. So what does it mean for you? Depends on your situation. If you're ready to buy a house, it's a great time to buy a house. If you look to sell a house, to downsize and move, let's get a strategy together. If you have the right strategy, you'll make it the right decision. That's the key in the market today. We have epic changes in the marketplace. You can use them to your advantage. Let me help you with that. I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Probate on social media. Call me, text me, email me. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.